Football Update. It's with your host, Sean Spencer, Alex Loosemore.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It is your boy, Sean Spencer, one half of that dynamic duo that is Let's Talk Football. And ladies and gentlemen, it is Tuesday, so you know who I'm with. My guy and host of Restoring the Roar, Alex Loosemore. What up, Alex?
Not too much, man. It's that week, rivalry week. The end of the regular season is here. This is when you're repping the team I'm repping, or that team down south. You're blocking out M's or O's, or there's a lot of that kind of like foolish stuff going on. But it's all leading up to do or die for a lot of teams this weekend.
Oh man, cannot wait. All the rivalries you talked about, your game, North Carolina plays in NC State, and for a lot of people outside of the area, a lot of people, it's always North Carolina Duke because of basketball, but in-house, it's the Wolfpack and the Tar Heels, man.
Yep.
And there is some bitter rivalries between the two, so this is a big game, even though we are outside of the ACC race for the, the championship and everything. We are outside of it, but look, there's a lot of major games, and first and foremost, I'm going to see it. I see your name in the little parentheses after that. Happy 1,000th win, the most of any NCAA football program. Alex, how does it feel, man?
I think it feels good. I started looking at the actual history of these wins, and I mean the first like 50 or so for a lot of these schools are like high schools, YMCAs, a lot of wins that shouldn't count. But it's not just Michigan. You look at Alabama, you look at Ohio State, you look at Notre Dame. A lot of those schools that were playing way back when, they're all playing local YMCAs and local high schools, and they're all counting it. So we'll count it on our way to 1,000.
Oh yeah, take it for what it is, and it was a hard-fought game against Maryland. I'm glad it was hard-fought and back and forth, but I'm definitely glad you guys got the W. Oh man! But like you said, we're coming close to the end. We're coming close to the very end of the season. All these major matchups matter. And look, let's get into this college football storylines, and let's go right to it, man. Let's talk about the big game. Ohio State, Michigan. You talked about the O's being taken out, the M's being taken out. You don't even refer to the team. You just say that team and that location. You know what I mean? It is seriously something that, and unless you've been around that area in those two states, you don't know how truly embedded into everything that rivalry is, and I love it. But Alex, everything, all the spotlights are on you guys and Ohio State, especially amid all the issues and suspensions and things like that. Talk to me about what this game means for you guys going forward and just the legacy of Jim Harbaugh.
Well, for both schools, honestly, this game means everything. And this means this version of the game means more than the past few years, in my opinion, because you look at it, if Michigan's able to beat Ohio State, the narrative all offseason is going to be, we didn't need signs to beat you. We beat you without our head coach, this, that, and like the other thing. And if Ohio State beats us, then the whole narrative is going to be, we needed the signs and we were cheating to get those wins, this and that. So there's going to be a lot of talk around the game. I know Big Noon Kickoff for Fox and College Game Day for ESPN are both at the Big House on Saturday. So you're right. All the lights are shining on the game. And then the way this playoff set up this year, one of these two teams is getting in. I don't think there's a way that both these two get in unless mass chaos hits over this week and next. So, and when you're at schools of this caliber or Georgia or Alabama, you're judged on what you do in the biggest games. So, and I also said earlier in the season, I think if Ohio State loses this game, and that was before all this other stuff came out, I think Ryan Day's on the hot seat if he loses this game, especially with everything added on.
So that's my question, because he's been more vocal than I have seen him in recent memory, especially after the Notre Dame game, talking about, they don't think we're
where's Lou Holtz and
hey, all this stuff. And so, on top of that, you hear the whole big scandal. Ohio State's one of those saying the story came out about the private investigators, or if it was true or not, or whatever happened. But still, it added fuel to the fire of the rivalry and everything. But to your point, we know a couple years ago, before Harbaugh won those 2 games against Ohio State, he was on the hot seat. Everybody was saying, is he going back to the NFL? Can Harbaugh handle it in college football? And I think you're absolutely right. Ryan Day, I mean, however great he's been, how high his draft picks, the players he's coached, have been drafted in the league, if you can't beat Michigan, as sad as that is, it don't matter about anything else. You're done.
Yeah. Well, if you look at Harbaugh, at that time frame you're talking about, 2020, when it was we couldn't beat Ohio State, we struggled with Penn State, we struggled with Michigan State. Michigan forced Jim Harbaugh to take a pay cut. They docked him severely. They cut his pay a ton, and his seat was extremely hot. Yeah. And then now you're starting to see with Ryan Day, yes, he's beating Michigan State. Yes, he's beating Penn State, those other top schools in the conference. But now 2 years in a row, he struggled with Michigan, something Urban Meyer never did. No. So especially with Urban Meyer sitting in-house for that game, if they struggle this game again for the 3rd year in a row,
yeah,
Ryan Day's seat is extremely hot going into the next season.
Oh yeah. Now I don't think he'll get the full axe unless it's another blowout, But yeah, I definitely agree that, and this is for y'all, essentially the playoff starts now. Especially for them, you got to win. Definitely for playoff seeding, and we're going to talk about the CFP a little bit later. But and look, we all know Harbaugh's not going to be on the sidelines, but he's coaching these guys up right now. Shamron Moore is going to be still the guy.
He's still the head coach. Yeah,
the still interim, so he knows the system. He knows the way things are going to be played. It's going to be interesting. Talk to me about what are you expecting? You know what I mean? This is in Ohio State, correct?
Or nope, they're coming to us. It's in the big house.
In the big house. Are we having snow? Is the
I believe so.
Game coming back?
I know as of this past Saturday, the forecast was for snow. I'll take another look here and see, but yeah, we were looking at another snow game like 2 years ago in Ann Arbor. So see if it'll come up here. Ann Arbor, Michigan on Saturday. Right now it's saying 30% chance of snow, and it's moved to Sunday now. So we'll see, but
yeah, still cold.
Yeah.
So, hey,
still right around freezing.
Right. And if for Ryan Day, if you want to sit here and let people, think that you're a tough team, you come into a game like this where the passing game is not, most likely the passing game is going to struggle. Always in the cold, you have a harder time. So it's going to have to be a heavy dose of Travion Henderson, a heavy dose of that run game. Because you tell them, Blake Corum, Edwards, these boys, McCarthy, these boys are going to be running right down Ohio State's throat. So
now one thing to look at is it was pretty clear last week, McCarthy's banged up. He is not healthy.
No.
His ankle's messed up from the Penn State game. We'll see how healthy he is going into this game, but he was clearly in pain against Maryland. And I think the one thing that is going to keep the Buckeyes close in this game is Travion Henderson. He was not there last year, and I can't remember if he was there the year before. I think he was. Yeah. But when he's been on the field this year, he's been in and out of the lineup with injury, but when he's on the field, he is a difference maker. Yeah. So I think he's gonna have chances to get big runs. Whether or not they actually come, who knows? But this is two of the best defenses in football, and Ohio State has one of the best sets of weapons in the nation, and I think it's going to be a really good matchup. I don't expect a blowout this year. I think it's close.
Yeah, and I'm hoping for it, man. And I'm really thinking this is the two top tier teams in the country, two of the better teams in the country. And in my opinion, it's going to come down to quarterback play. J.J. McCarthy being more comfortable in the system. He's more, ready to distribute to the different guys he has. And, the Michigan wide receivers are overshadowed by, Emeka Ibuka and Marvin Harrison Jr. for Ohio State. And albeit those two are elite wide receivers, you still got to look over here at the guys that you have, Wilson. You know what I mean?
Roman Wilson, Cornelius Johnson. Yeah. To me, the tight ends are going to be the difference maker for Michigan. Colson Loveland and A.J. Barner are two of the better tight ends in all of college football. Barner's the lesser of the two, and he's up for the Mackey or whatever it is for the tight ends for the awards this year. Loveland somehow didn't get in there, but he's the better of the two. Loveland is. And they've both been game breakers at certain points of games. McCarthy likes to rely heavily on them, and obviously Roman Wilson. But I think it's going to come down to how well these linebackers can cover the tight ends of Michigan.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we always know, normally, the flashy players, all that stuff, it works. But in that cold weather, the trenches are where it really matters. And that O-line against Ohio State's D-line is what I will be focused on. I know you're going to have your eyes on it, man. Because we've questioned Ohio State's defense all year. They have pieces, but will they step up at big time plays? And I'm going to ask, do you think they're going to step up when they get a steady dose of that Blake Corum and Edwards and McCarthy coming at them over and over? And you get cold, your hands are starting to tingle a little bit. You think they're going to be able to step up to that challenge?
I think they will for the majority of the game. I think that fourth quarter they'll start to kind of feel it. My main one there that I'm watching is the Michigan D-line versus the Ohio State O-line. Yep. We've got 13 guys that we rotate regularly on that defensive line that all make plays all over the place. So, and I've said multiple times I don't like Ohio State's offensive line. Like, I don't think it's that good of a unit. They've been steadily improving all year, but I still don't think it's a playoff caliber offensive line. So I think that's where Michigan can take advantage defensively. And then I'm excited to see Will Johnson against Marvin Harrison Jr. I cannot wait for that matchup.
I want to see what kind of performance Marvin Harrison Jr. has. You know what I mean? We've seen he's had elite performance. He's had 3 touchdowns and almost just the first quarter against Michigan State. So he is that top tier receiver, but in games like this is where his impact can really be felt. So I really want to see if he can come out there and show up. I'm going to go ahead and let it out. You see Ben is over here saying Michigan 23, Ohio State 20 is his prediction. What are you going to give a prediction, or do you want to wait till Saturday?
I'll give one now, and then I'll see how I feel about it on Saturday. I'm close to Ben. I got 28-20 for Michigan.
Okay.
We have that ability that very few other schools have had this season to almost at will punch it in near the goal line with that running game. I mean, Corum has 20 touchdowns on the year, or very close to it. Right. He's a touchdown machine. So I think it'll be a lot of long, methodical drives for Michigan. A lot of them will end in punts, and then you'll get a few that go into the end zone. I think 28-20.
I like that. I got 27-21. I think Ohio State's going to get an opportunity late in the game to drive down, and I think Michigan's defense is going to hold. And they're going to get a crucial interception late in the game. So I think you guys got that thing 27-21. Yeah,
I've got Ohio State trying to get that tying score at the end and falling short. That's where I'm at too. I think it comes down right to the very end.
Oh yeah, I think, and one of the funny things is, I think your defense is the one that's getting slept on. Everybody knows about how elite your offense is, but your defense has been putting the clamps on a lot of teams this year. And I think because everything has been, so out in the news with Jim Harbaugh and the coaches getting fired and all that type of stuff, I think your defense is definitely flying under the radar.
Yeah. So. You look at that Maryland game this past weekend. That was the first time we allowed points in the third quarter.
Right.
So when it's game 11 before you're allowing points in the third quarter, when teams are making adjustments going in at halftime, and they come out and that's when you're shutting teams down, I think that is extremely impressive. And it shows to that versatility. Like I said, the 13 guys rotating in on the defensive line. We've got 8-9 guys that we rotate into the secondary. We've got 5-6 linebackers, and they're all getting tons of playing time. Yep. So that shows to that freshness that these guys have, and it really helps out that defense a ton.
Oh yeah. So I cannot wait to see this. Stay tuned for this one this weekend. Look, let's move on down the list because one guy, unfortunately, will no longer be playing for the University, Florida State University. Jordan Travis, I'm not going to even show you that clip. If you did not see the injury, I would not recommend you going to watch it if you have a weak stomach. It was rough. And Alex, man, I feel for him, man. That just you hate to see that happen, and it's just like right at the end of the season, they're on such a run. What does this mean for him and for the team, man?
For him, it's so tough because, like you said in the headline there down below, he said he's done with Florida State. That was his last game as a Seminole. Whether that means he's going to the NFL or he's going to be a grad transfer, who knows? Or is he playing again? We don't know. Right. Because of that kind of injury. For NFL people, it reminded me very much of Dak Prescott a couple years ago. Yes. It was that similar look. Right away, that leg was bent down where it should not bend. It was awful. And for a guy like that who's busted his tail for years and years, and Florida State's up at the pinnacle of college football in that playoff and fighting to stay in that playoff, and that happens, like you said, week 12. That, just as a football fan, that hurt.
Yeah.
That was tough to watch. The way he's responded since then, like he was at the hospital, they're dealing with everything, and he's got the game on his phone watching. He's still rooting his team on. Yep. He is the epitome of what a leader should be. What it means for the team, they responded well because they were not playing well against North Alabama before he got hurt. They responded. I think they'll continue to fight for him. I think they'll finish undefeated. I think they'll beat Florida this weekend, and I think they beat Louisville next weekend. Whether the committee will put Florida State into the playoff without Jordan Travis remains to be seen.
Yes,
but I feel for Jordan Travis, for Florida State, for those fans, for the team. That is such a massive blow and a brutal spot to be in.
And I hate to see something like this from a guy at any point in his career, much less his senior season, or let's just this type of season, and then towards the end of the season. But and I'm going to read this comment in a second, but I also had a feel, because Florida State has been down for so many years. You know, we talk about that game that they lost a couple years back to Jacksonville State, and Jacksonville State had just made the move to NCAA and to FBS. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was that first year or maybe their last year at FCS. I
think last FCS.
Yeah, we had just seen how far they had fallen, and for them to come up to this and have the season that they had, there was a part of me, and I hate saying this, but there was part of me that was always kind of this year saying, when's the shoe going to drop? When is FSU going to kind of choke it up? Like, are they really back? And every game I was like, prove it, prove it, prove it. And I hate for it to go down like this. I'm hoping they can continue. Ben says, I really hate to say this, but I'm actually not shocked this happened to Jordan Travis. His style of play and the size makes him more vulnerable to these types of injuries. I was hoping this wouldn't have happened. I feel for the guy. Yeah.
Well, and it was just that unfortunate tackle, too. It was the big guy trying to make the tackle, and he's basically just forcing his weight on him to try and crumble him. And just the way that leg was kind of contacting the turf, it just snapped. Like, it was so unfortunate. See, and I expected something like an ACL, an ankle, like a ligaments in his ankle, something like that. I didn't necessarily expect the break, but you do expect that kind of stuff to happen with these mobile quarterbacks, the smaller stature. And as far as the whole like Florida State this season, I felt right off the bat like they were a playoff team. I had them in my playoff 4, if I'm not mistaken, right off the bat. But I thought they were a semifinalist. I didn't legitimately think national championship, but I thought they were one of the 4 best teams in the country. That sucks. From a football perspective.
Right. And as far as the committee is concerned, I mean, we're going to talk about this a little bit later. At the moment, they have them right outside the top 4. They have them at 5. But look, like we've talked about, they still have Benson at running back, who's been balling recently. They still have Keon Coleman, who we've been talking about potentially getting Heisman hype. Jared Verse on defense. They have speed. They have power. There's a reason these guys are undefeated and are playing so well. Jordan Travis is a part of that, but they have a nice set of players, an elite team. That's the reason why they're up there. So I definitely think as long as they continue to win, they should be considered. And their play, their style of play, all that stuff played in. I just fear that the backup, who I think it's Roadmaker.
Yeah.
That's their backup. I fear that him being in there might, and we'll see. He did find the rest of the way here, but I fear him being in there might be the deciding factor, and I hate that.
Yeah. Now, I think if they run the table, if the committee is doing what they are supposed to do, FSU will be that 4th team. As long as they win out, I do still feel like they'd push Washington or Oregon if Oregon runs the table the rest of the way and beats Washington next week and Oregon State this week. I do believe they'd push Oregon to number 3. Potentially a 1-loss Texas if they win the Big 12 might go to number 3 over Florida State. I don't know. I hope if Florida State runs the table that they get in, but it's kind of iffy to me.
Yeah. So and a lot of it again plays onto what everything else of the other teams do. Washington, if Michigan, or Ohio State, whoever gets that in, obviously the Alabama, and then that's the Ohio State and Alabama, Ohio State and Michigan. They could potentially be knocked out. Then do you bring in an FSU, or then what about the Oregon game? God, there's so many things that can play out right now. But it's gonna be interesting to see how these last couple weeks play out, because this week is important. The conference championship is important, but we'll see. But at the end of the day, you have to win out yourselves. So FSU, if you want that shot to get in there, you guys have to take care of business. Period. Point blank.
For Ben's last comment there, FSU gets in, if that's the scenario. Michigan, with the schedule they had this season, has to win out to get in. If they lose to Ohio State, if they lose to Iowa, they could potentially get in, beating Penn State, beating Ohio State. I still don't like their chances in that scenario. But if if they lose to Ohio State, don't even make the conference championship game, they're toast for playoffs.
Yeah. So these next couple weeks are extremely important. But to Jordan Travis, man, we wish you the best. We hope for a speedy recovery, man, and just focus on whatever your next move is. You have left a great legacy at Florida State, man. You rised up through there, and hey, I'm glad I was able to see you play. Hopefully, we continue to see you play in the future, man. Oh,
yeah,
man.
100%.
But look, we got to move on, ladies and gentlemen, because like we said, the conference championships are soon, December 2nd. So right around the corner. If you don't think that's quick, let's just think about the fact that it was August 28th, like a week ago. All right.
Yeah.
It wasn't that long ago between me and Alex. We're sitting here trying to go back and forth on you ain't get this daggone opening week get here already. So whew, good gracious. And we're going to talk about the most talked about conference in football right now and this year. And I got to bring in my guy if we're talking about that, because we're going to talk a little Pac-12 football. So bringing in our guy, Mr. Quack himself, Alec Schaumburg. What up, Alec?
What's up, guys? I hope y'all having a blessed Thanksgiving week.
Yes, you too.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
I'll definitely, before I say anything, I want to say thank you to you and Alex for bringing me on this season.
Oh, yeah.
Even though I won't be here next season because, deployment and everything's up in the air. We don't know what's going to go on with that, but I appreciate the season and with the platform.
Oh, come on, man. You already know, man. You already know from the first day when we brought up that quack, baby. You know what I mean? And look, I know you thought it was me coming at you back this time last year when I did that. But that was to open the door, man. I wanted to have something between you and I so that you would come back this next year, man. So, we appreciate you, man.
100%.
Whenever I get the chance with my schedule, I'll try to make my appearances, but everything's up in the air after January. But
understood.
But I definitely, before I talk about the races, I looked into that thing you're talking about the which players are going to go to the draft. It looks like only Troy Franklin and Bo Nix are going. It looks like Bucky Irving's not going because if you look at
which would be huge.
The stocks where he's at, it's equivalent to where Royce Freeman was. Everybody hyped up Royce Freeman. He had a great year, or great 3 years at Oregon.
Yeah,
they're thinking it's what other teams are thinking about is he another Royce Freeman, where he's going to go to the NFL and fall down. So I think he's going to stay another year to bolster his draft stock.
Now, a lot of these players, while they might be leaning one way or the other right now, a lot of it comes right close to that deadline where they have to decide. I believe it's end of January, beginning February. They get kind of that analysis from draft scouts and that kind of stuff on where they think they'll go, and then a lot of them make decisions there. But yeah, I think Nix and Franklin, I think that's the right two to go.
Oh, there's no rant today, sadly. I have nothing to rant about.
Yeah, Oregon's been good. So there's nothing to complain about.
I love where we're at in the rankings because anytime we're at 4, things go wrong for us. So I'm fine. Keep us at 6.
Although if you remember a few years ago, I think it was when you guys still had Herbert. You were 6 in the rankings. Went to Arizona State like you guys did last week.
Okay, don't remind me about that one, all right? Do not remind me about that game. I still have PTSD from that game.
Now, do you guys go to Corvallis this weekend, or does Oregon State come to you?
It's in Austin. Austin. God, Austin. My bad.
That is huge for you guys. If you guys had to go to Corvallis this weekend.
Oh, I would have been sick.
Death sentence.
Yeah, the way I see it.
That's going to be interesting.
Like, my projection for this is it's going to be a close than anybody else thinks. When they look at the Oregon State, from a person who's watched this matchup year in and year out, they play each other differently than any other teams in the Pac-12. I don't know why.
They have the spread at Oregon minus 13.5.
It's not going to be – Oregon State's going to cover that. It's going to be –
Absolutely they're going to cover that.
But the way I see it is it's going to be either a 3-point game, 7-point game, hopefully in favor of my Ducks. Hopefully, Lord willing.
I got the Ducks by 6.
When we play against Washington, I hope it's all gas, no brakes. Pummel their heads into the ground.
Full speed ahead.
Last week's game against Oregon State, Washington messed up. They showed flaws that I've been trying to say it for weeks. They have flaws. They are human. When we played against them, if we never would have went for it on 4th down, we would have won that game. I don't care what anybody says. You could argue the wall and argue with your parents.
Yeah.
If we never went for it on 4th down on that play, would have punted it instead, we would have won that game, and it never would have been that situation. So
and that's the thing. You guys have the blueprint. You guys have played them, and with the exception of what you just talked about, you guys had them. You know,
on the road, right?
Yeah, it was in their stadium.
Yeah,
because the thing is, like people want to say I bash my team. Like the only way, like against certain teams in Pac-12, if we're behind, there's games. If we're behind certain teams in Pac-12, we never win it. It'll be close, but we never win it.
Yep.
Like if we're behind Washington, it never ends well for us. If it's like
good answer, Ben. That is perfect. Oregon by enough.
Yeah. But all eyes. I mean, I won't. The sad part is I can't watch the game because we're out to sea during that. We literally leave that Friday.
Oh man!
Oh, like a week from this Friday.
Yeah, we're out to sea for I think a week. Come back and then we're out to sea again for 4 days for sea trials for the missile thing that we have, and then come back. So it's like I'm gonna miss
I'll throw it on and see if I can hear it on my end.
Yeah.
I'll be here for the college football playoffs, I think. But
okay, perfect.
I won't be to the Pac-12 championship. Maybe it's a blessing in disguise, Sean. Maybe I will get stressed.
I can hear it.
Championship.
Yeah. Hello. Yeah, I can hear that. So look, talk to me. So right now, you guys obviously have to win. You win and you're in. Now, Arizona is also in a spot where if they win and unfortunately y'all lose, Arizona in that.
Alex told me that this week. I hate that it's like that, but to be fair, it's Pac-12, so it has to make sense to be conference, even though those bums don't deserve to be in the same field as us. But it's conference. I just hope because there's no shot there that Arizona State's beating them. There's no shot in the world.
You just said rivalry games, teams playing teams.
Arizona State. Arizona State, have you seen their quarterback last week?
Yep.
That it got to a point where I was watching the game, and they tried putting their other quarterback in, thinking that was going to change something, and even that didn't work. I was like, they have serious problems at quarterback, and I was like, with Arizona, they're just going to eat that alive, and I'm not holding my breath.
What happened to Jaden Rashada?
They got injured?
Yeah, I was going to say he hasn't played since week 1 or 2.
From what, Arizona State?
Yeah. He was the one, if you remember, early this year, where Florida offered him a boatload of money that they didn't actually have, and he signed. They didn't have the money. He decommitted. Arizona State had the money for him. He went there.
Wow. What's going on, Handy? Look, at the end of the day, on the other side of that, Arizona, we've talked about this guy. In my opinion, he is the Pac-12 freshman of the year, Noah Fafita, almost 2,000 yards in the air. Yeah. This guy came in mid-season as a true freshman, went toe-to-toe with USC. We see that they've since fired their defensive coordinator because of games like that, you know? Oh, man. Arizona
they offered
State.
him $9.5 million, Jaden Rashada.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like
absolutely.
I just hope. All I gotta say is when April comes around, these two people above me better not. I hope none of your teams get Troy Franklin, because that means I gotta buy the jersey of your team.
I hope we do get Troy Franklin.
Let's go. I can see you with some Commanders gear. Let's go.
We can use another receiver as a Honolulu Blue. Let's go.
Troy Franklin he's what I wanted Devin Allen to be before he got injured. Because Devin Allen was going to be that next top level receiver in the NFL. Got injured. Now he just plays special teams. But that's another question. That's another thing. Out of all receivers in the draft, I mean, there's Marvin Harrison Jr. I mean, everybody's going to target him. But Troy Franklin has everything you need at receiver: speed, hands, coordination.
How tall is he?
It's like he was made in the lab.
What's his specs? How tall is he?
How tall is he?
Yeah. Is he like a slot guy, or can he be a number one on the outside, or?
Give me 30 seconds.
He is
3'1", 187.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he could be an outside guy.
Okay. Yeah, they always had him at outside, but they tend to play him in like. I've only seen him play inside, mostly on run plays.
So wait, you said
block for Bucky Irving.
You said Troy Franklin. Troy Franklin.
Oh, don't.
Yeah, no.
Hey, look, I gotta talk to the scouts, man. I gotta talk to our guy.
Hey, we take receivers that love to block. We'll take them.
No, wow. Come east. Let's go.
Yeah, but not too far east. Like,
if I had to buy a Lions jersey, I swear. What's his specs? What is he showing? 72.
I need to see. Come on, man. Carfax. Yo, Anthony, to your point, yeah. I think it was absolutely the best move for him to go from Clemson to Oregon State. Thrown for almost 2,500 yards, 20 TDs, only 6 interceptions. He's playing well, and they have the offense where they throw him in. They have the other guy come in for a little bit. So you're keeping him fresh. You're keeping him going. So that move was absolutely paramount for him.
Plus, they let him be himself in that offense. Like that's why quarterbacks thrive.
Yes.
Like they don't like I feel like in like ACC, unless you've shown that you have like that running capability, they kind of make you one dimensional. At Pac-12, they let you be like an open book in that situation.
Yeah.
Anthony's still going.
That's absolutely right, Anthony. Yo, look, speaking of Anthony's in here. Let's go ahead and move to the SEC race. We know it is already the SEC championship is already booked. Yep. Both teams are in. Georgia, Alabama. We've seen this before. Are we going to see something different? Right. Are we going to see something different? Can somebody knock off the mighty Georgia? Or can Jalen Milroe continue to have the season that he's been having? Alec, what do you think, man?
Judging by my track record, I don't think I can have this one, especially with I started somebody in the comments.
He's waiting. He's
waiting for me to say it. He's just like chomping at the bit for me to say one bad thing. And I will say this verbatim. Georgia is the real deal, Anthony. Your team is legit. They're gonna beat Alabama. I'm not gonna say anything because every time I say something, the opposite happens. So,
and the mind games continue to play.
Yeah,
we're gonna win by 30. Yes. Don't be scared. Oh man, look, honestly, and to be honest, and I'm gonna come to you, Alex. Honestly, if there's something that Georgia's defense might fear, it's running a good running game and a running team that can run to the edge. We saw what Missouri was able to do, where they were able to get Schrader on the edge and even pound him in the middle. And at the end of the day, we have yet to see a defense be able to really contain Carson Beck once midseason. We saw those early games in South Carolina where they struggled, they got off to a slower start, and you know what I'm saying? And we saw some of those, but for the most part, teams have not been able to stop that offense. I think, in my opinion, I think Alabama's going to have to run the ball, control the clock, and let's not sleep on that defense, Alex. Coming to you, let's not sleep on that defense of Bama because they're no slouch.
Yeah, this defense has played very well this year, and that's something that the Ole Misses and the Missouris haven't quite had. Is not necessarily the level of defense that Alabama has, but the speed on defense that Alabama has. That's where those multiple 5 stars and recruit after recruit after recruit coming in those doors really helps. The one thing that scares me about Bama is that offensive line. Like Chris said, it is not good, which is it's weird to say that about a Nick Saban-led team, but they've not had a good offensive line in a few years. It's been a while. But you need to run that ball to stop Georgia, to limit those possessions. And you need to be able to slow down the Georgia offense because I don't know that you can stop it. Yeah. But you need to be able to essentially force the offensive coordinator to put the training wheels back on Carson Beck. Because it's the same thing I was saying with Penn State with Drew Aller. I felt like if they took the training wheels off him, look out. And it's exactly what's happened with Carson Beck. When you let him flourish and let him do what he does, he is a very good quarterback.
Yep.
So don't let him be comfortable. Don't let him play his style. If you want to beat Georgia, which I don't know that Alabama can do it. I think the two teams that have the best chance are us and Alabama. Mm-hmm. You have to dictate to Georgia how the game's going to go.
Right.
And nobody's been able to do that in like 3 years.
Right.
And I know we can say that Bama beat Georgia in the SEC title game. They got lucky. That was Georgia. Essentially, it was okay, we're in the playoff regardless. Georgia's just a different animal right now. And I think it's going to be tough for Bama to do it. I don't know that they can.
It's going to be real tough. And the only team that I've really seen in the last several years, like you said, take it to Bama. I got to go back to Ohio State. And that in the semifinal game, they had Bama down by 11 late in the game, and they kept coming at Bama, or at Georgia. But what we saw in that game,
I gotta interrupt this. So, you know that our former tight end we used to have on Oregon, Spencer Webb, that passed away.
Yeah.
Look what they're doing this week for him.
Oh, that's cool. I like that. I like that a lot. That's awesome.
Ooh. Oh, that's nice.
Sorry, I saw that they posted that. I was like, that's crazy.
Oh, I love that. That's dope. That's absolutely dope. Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see what happens in the SEC championship. Look, let's move on quickly. Big Ten championship. Obviously, Iowa is in on that side. Michigan, Ohio State. We know, we talked about it. This is where we're going to see who gets in. If regardless of who plays, can that defense of Iowa stop a high-powered Michigan or high-powered Ohio State offense, guys?
For a little bit, but not for long. I think either offense torches this Iowa defense, and I don't think Iowa's offense stands a chance against either defense. So I think regardless of whether the Buckeyes win or the Wolverines win, I think the Big Ten title game is a blowout like it's been the past few years.
Alec, what do you think, man?
With the Ohio State-Michigan game?
No. Regardless of who wins the game, can Iowa, potentially upset them?
I mean, it's going to be close, but I don't think it's going to be – I feel like it'll be within reach of them, but it's not going to be in their favor. I can see it being closer than everybody else thinks. Like, with Michigan, like what I've noticed with them, their first half they start slow, like Georgia does. Like they'll score points, but like they don't start waking up until the third, fourth quarter. So it all depends on if Iowa capitalizes on that. That's the only way you can actually like keep up with Michigan is pour on them when they can.
Yep. You got to get, and it's the same thing playing Georgia, and it's because they both rely on a heavy dose of the run game. You've got to, and that's why I said you got to dictate the way these teams play, because if you force them into passing early, then it gets them out of rhythm, gets them out of what they're comfortable with. Then that's where mistakes start to happen. So if Iowa can do that, if Ohio State this weekend can do that, if Alabama can do that next weekend to Georgia, Iowa next weekend to potentially Michigan or Ohio State, then anything's possible in those games. Yep. But you have to get those teams out of their rhythm.
And that's the thing. And at the end of the day, like we said, you can run the ball down the field. You can keep the other offense off the field, but your offense has got to be efficient. You have got to score on each drive that you run down if you're Iowa. You cannot, like you said, you can't afford to play backup and you catch up. And we know those offenses are high powered. The defense and the special team, elite for Iowa, but quarterback and offense leaves much to be imagined.
Yeah. Now, if this Iowa offense was fully healthy, if you had Eric All and your multiple tight ends that you had to start the season, if you had McNamara's been their best quarterback this season by far. So if you had McNamara back in, if you had a healthy offensive line, like if you had the Iowa team that was on paper to start the season, Iowa keeps this game extremely close, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
But the way they're built now with the quarterbacks they have now and the weapons they have around the quarterback now, I don't think they really hold a chance other than Torrey Taylor punting the ball and the defense playing the field position game.
Mm-hmm. So we shall definitely see. Staying in the Midwest, let's go to the MAC conference. Miami of Ohio is slated to play Toledo. Toledo undefeated in the MAC. Miami of Ohio only losing one game. This is going to be interesting. Alec, what are you thinking? Have you followed any MAC football?
Sadly, no. That's the sad. Like, I wish I was. Every time they have a game on, it's mostly when I've been busy doing like $20 million other things, which I'm kind of upset about.
It is typically the middle of the week, so that's fair.
Yes, I love it.
I really wish I could watch them, like be in like the know of everything.
In fact, there's two games going on right now.
But other than that, like, I haven't watched any. I watched highlights on SportsCenter if that counts, but
yeah. And bad beats. Mac always seems to be on bad beats somehow.
Good old SVP.
I mean, look, Toledo's been kind of wiping the floor with everybody all year. I'm surprised that Miami of Ohio is coming up. You and I, Alex, looked at Ohio and thought they were going to be the ones to come out of the East. But Miami of Ohio is taking it. We remember them we covered them early in the year when they said that when they played
they were the real Miami, yeah.
Right. And then subsequently got smoked in that game.
Brakes beaten off of them.
But they have continued to move down. So shout out to them in that one. In the ACC race, and right on time, Mr. Cornette has entered the building. Ben.
What's up, Ben?
Are you here with
us?
Guys.
I just saw them on the messenger, man. I didn't know you sent the StreamYard, so I apologize. I could have been on earlier, but thank you for having me.
Oh yeah, you're straight. And look, I mean, we have a heavy dose of FSU on the docket today, so we want to get into it. So definitely talk about the injury, what it meant to you. But FSU right now slated to play Louisville. And the ACC championship.
Oh wait, to add on to that, did you watch the CFB like committee show?
Yes.
Yeah.
I definitely agree with what they say about FSU. Like you shouldn't knock them down. all with Florida with FSU's defense and what they've done this year.
Yeah,
like they said that you shouldn't knock them down and let their quarterback define their whole team and set them back when all season their defense proved their side of the ball.
But at the same time, though, when the committee's looking at how they're doing the rankings, strength of schedule and that kind of stuff matters. And Washington with that win over Oregon State at this point kind of wipes the floor with the strength of schedule of a lot of these other teams. If you're looking at that, they should be above Michigan at this point too. So, if you're looking at the strength of schedule, that's where I'm saying that. I feel like Michigan is a much more complete team and a much better team right now than Washington is. But I feel like the three top teams are clearly Georgia, Michigan, and the Suckeyes or the team down south, whatever you want to call them. But but Washington, Florida State, that second tier teams, there's a ton of very good college football teams in that group.
I feel like you want a FSU Oregon bowl game, don't you? I feel like that's what you're trying to target at.
If Jordan Travis was healthy, that'd be a ton of fun. I would love that.
That would be amazing.
But don't forget.
Plus, I just want to pit teams from in this group against each other. That's what I love doing.
But don't forget when they were coming out with the ratings this week. They looked at that game against North Alabama, and there was they had to be like, hey, you were down 13-0, guys. I mean, you did not play your best football. I don't know if we want to put you at number 4 now. I mean, Travis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the BC game
they actually played better without Travis.
The college game.
Yeah,
and the Clemson game, and there's a few.
But guys, our schedule's not as good this year. I'm sorry to say it. I mean, yes, I love the fact that we're undefeated. Don't get me wrong, but the ACC is a down year. I'm sorry, it's just been a down year, and the team we're going to play in the championship game, Louisville, probably had one of the easiest schedules you can have. They didn't play at Florida State yet. They didn't play at Clemson, either. So, they didn't play some of these top teams. And our best win was against LSU, but LSU's a 3-loss team. And they're probably not as good as, many make them out to believe. So I would say, like I put in the comments, Alex, about let's say Michigan loses to either Ohio State or Iowa. Florida State goes undefeated. What if it came down to those two teams? I would actually put Michigan over Florida State just because of the fact that you're playing in a tougher conference and your strength of schedule is a little bit better than Florida State. And the fact that we don't have Penn State, you're going to beat either Ohio State or Iowa. If you beat Ohio State and lose to Iowa, then definitely.
Then they're in, yes.
Yeah.
If we don't beat Ohio State, there's not a chance in hell that we're getting in.
I disagree with that. I still think you get in. I do somehow. But you got to beat Iowa.
But if we lose to Ohio State, then we don't even no division title, no conference title. Right. That's why I say not a hope in hell.
I don't know. But without Jordan Travis, do you want to put a team in Florida State in without its star quarterback? Also an attraction business too.
Yeah,
we want to see the
best.
A
conference championship still has to mean something.
It does, but the Big 12, they've had a conference champion that didn't get into the playoff.
But that was
Pac-12.
That was 5 good conference champions and 1 has to sit out.
I know, so there's going to be somebody sitting out of winning a conference that's won a conference championship.
I think if we're looking at it now, and let's say Georgia runs the table, they're automatically in.
Yeah.
Whoever wins out of Michigan, Ohio State, I'm sorry, they're going to beat Iowa. They're in.
Yeah.
Whoever wins out of Washington, and I do still think it's Oregon, they're in. Mm-hmm. Then you're going to a potentially undefeated Florida State, who I know we said Louisville has the easy record, everything. They're still ranked in the top 10. So you're going to have a win over a top 10 team and an LSU team that, even though they're 3 losses, they're still a top 15 ranked team. So you're going to have those two. And then you're going to have, if Texas only has the 1 loss, then there's them, there's you guys, and then you start to look at the loser of Michigan and Ohio State and some of those other schools. But I think it would really be Florida State and Texas. And at that point, I think the undefeated conference champion gets in.
But Texas, you said it right there, Texas. And they do have a tougher schedule. They did beat Alabama on the road. So
I think a lot of that depends on who's in the Big 12 title game with them, if they make it.
I mean, as of right now, it looks like it's going to be Texas, Oklahoma State, right?
Well,
Oklahoma State, OU, and Kansas State are all 6-2 in conference. Texas is 7-1 in conference.
Kansas State wins this weekend. Wouldn't it be them, I think, against Texas?
Who do they have this weekend?
Texas plays Texas Tech. Oklahoma State plays BYU. Oklahoma plays TCU. And Kansas State plays Iowa State. They're all hosting those teams. So currently the way it's set up, Oklahoma State as the tiebreaker, then Oklahoma, and then Kansas State.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
So at that point, if Oklahoma State wins, they're in. If Oklahoma State loses, then Oklahoma's winning, they're in. Okay. Kansas State needs both of them to lose.
Wow.
So I do think I think it's going to be Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
Texas should be hoping it's Oklahoma. They should be praying Oklahoma State loses, and then they're gone. Oklahoma gets in. Oklahoma's the higher ranked team of the two as well. Oklahoma is currently ranked 13th. Oklahoma State is 20th. That is going to matter, especially if Oklahoma's the higher ranked team and that's Texas's only loss. If they can avenge that loss and they have the win over Alabama, that's going to look a hell of a lot better.
Wouldn't that look more impressive than Florida State going undefeated?
Yeah, if you have a one-loss, Texas is the only Big 12 team that can get in the playoff, in my opinion.
Right.
So, this is the toughest year to pick 4 teams, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
At least in a very long time.
Yeah, and don't forget Texas beat Alabama in Alabama. We beat LSU on a neutral site. Right. So it really wasn't a road win. It was a neutral game, kind of a home game, if you ask me, because we're in Florida. We're in Orlando.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens.
Well, hey, we'll definitely see. And that Big 12 race has been a great one all year. So I'm glad it's coming down. I'm glad it's coming down to the wire, because there was times when when Texas lost to OU, we're like, oh man, are they out of the race? Then OU lost multiple games. And then I jumped on Oklahoma State's bandwagon, and they got smoked in a game like 45-3. So I'm glad it's coming down to the wire, and we'll see how it goes. I'm actually going to go out to your neck of the woods, Ben, the Mountain West, UNLV, leading the way. Man, come on! What are you thinking, man? Could they be in there? I think it's them against Air Force, Boise State, and San Jose State are all 2 losses.
Right. So right now, I think we're in second place as we're speaking. We did beat Air Force this weekend. Huge win up there in Colorado. Huge. We're 9-2. It's incredible what Barry Odom's done in his first year with that program. I mean, I was looking at it, and I thought Marcus Arroyo probably should have got another year, but because he was starting to get this team going a little bit. But it's turned out that they made a good move. Barry Odom's done a great job with that program, and
you guys are in first. You guys are in first at 6-1 in the conference. Yeah.
Okay, I thought we were tied for first or second. I thought because we got
you were tied going into last week, and then Air Force is 5-2, Boise State's 5-2, San Jose State's 5-2.
And we play San Jose State this weekend, so it's a big game.
And if I'm not mistaken, I believe Air Force plays Boise State. They do.
Oh, okay.
On Friday night.
Let's go.
Friday night, you'll have one half of that conference championship game.
And then, because I think in the Mountain West, the team with the best record hosts that game.
Yep.
Yeah. So
that's why Boise always had it for 40 years.
Right. Yeah. I think it'll be I believe it's Fresno State and UNLV. Are they the top 2?
No, Air Force. You and Air Force,
because we already beat Air Force. We lost to Fresno State and Michigan.
And Michigan. Those are your only 2 losses. Yeah. So Fresno State's 4-3 in the conference.
Okay. They did lose. They did lose last week, didn't they?
the winner of UNLV San Jose State will play the winner of Air Force Boise State.
Yep. Ooh, that's a big game, and I think.
Yeah.
Well, I think we'll
in Boise.
In Boise.
Okay. Yeah. And UNLV hosts as well.
I think we could do it. I really do. I mean, I really love our defense is better, but we still give up some points. You know, we got a good offense. We run the ball well. Our quarterback is solid. I think the key this year has been our offensive line's been a lot better. We've given our quarterback in the pocket to, you know, make plays. You know, that's something we really haven't had. The trenches, you know, in the last few years, been giving up a lot of sacks, you know, in the last few years. And this year, that's been cleaned up a lot. So, UNLV's just been really impressive. I just hope that we can build on this. It's not just like a one-year thing. We can keep going. Because I'll tell you this, if we do that, Barry Odom's going to be a hot name in the next year or two. You know, people are going to be calling him. And I hope he stays. You know, because we want to establish that, you know, foundation. We don't want to just because we just see that coaches just go wherever, you know. It's like Luke. I didn't think Luke Fickell would go to Wisconsin. I thought he would stay in Cincinnati, but you know, he took the Wisconsin job, which he's building that program up, and they're getting better. So I'm just hoping Barry Odom gets a few years here, so that way we can have a foundation. If he does leave, we have a coach in place that can take over and continue that momentum. So,
one to compare Fickell, you look at what he did at Cincinnati, building that up for years, and I'm with you. I personally thought he was staying until the Ohio State job opened again, and that he was going back there. I was shocked Wisconsin didn't give Jim Leonard the job. I thought he was. I thought it was his job to lose.
Right.
I was shocked they didn't go with him.
I think they felt like Luke was seeing what he did with Cincinnati. I think they felt more comfortable with him saying, "Okay, we need to reestablish our program." You know, we haven't been really great since the Barry Alvarez days. You know, we want to get back to that era. So, you know, Luke Fickell, I think that was a good choice. You know, and proved last weekend. You know, he even in that post-game interview, you know, he's establishing a culture here. He's, you know. And his kids play hard; they fight hard for him. So that tells you how good a coach he is. So same thing with Barry Odom. I've heard nothing but great things about the players saying how great he is. Can be demanding, but they love him because he's a good coach. You know, so,
that's what you need out of a coach. You need somebody that's going to keep the players accountable and push them.
Exactly.
Right. Absolutely. Yep. I agree.
Oh yeah. So, real quick, Conference USA has its championship set up. Liberty still undefeated in 7-0 in conference, playing New Mexico State, led by Diego Pavia at 6-1 in the conference. This is, I mean, look, I love the fact that we have a Virginia school represented, Lynchburg, Virginia. Liberty still undefeated. Unfortunately, my JMU took their first loss this year to App State. I kind of
great game.
Oh yeah, I knew it, and when I watched it, I was sitting here like, man, if there was ever a team, you know how I feel. I still have stars from App State, so
you want to talk stars from App State?
Well, yeah, right.
Michigan fans have a very good history with
Michigan and 2007 App State don't mix well.
No,
UNC almost this year.
Again, 2 years in a row almost.
2 years in a row, man. Good God. So this actually, I think, is going to be a very underrated game, but I think it's going to be a very good game. Diego Pavia is somebody that, like I said, we've talked about before, who's really starting to come into his own. He's been starter here for the last couple years. And as we've seen in Liberty with their new coach, I mean, they're starting to become a team that's not just a flash in the pan. Like they're really building something over there in Lynchburg, and I love that.
Yeah,
man. And then another one, the American Conference, ladies and gentlemen, Tulane, SMU, and UTSA all undefeated in conference at 7-0. And I'm going to tell you something.
This weekend, I think.
Yeah. this is one of these conferences that, I mean, you got to watch this thing all the way to the end. We know what Tulane did in the bowl game against USC a year ago. And then, but and UTSA, another one that was only had one loss last year, but SMU, seeing
and
them
those
in
are the
this,
2 teams that play.
UTSA,
Tulane.
Wow. And the winner of that would have to play SMU.
Well, if
SMU playing Navy.
Yeah, SMU has to beat Navy.
Yeah.
And then so those two, SMU's winning, they're in, and between UTSA Tulane, it's winning, you're in, and Tulane's hosting that game.
Ooh. Oh wow.
Sheesh.
Oh man.
That's gonna be a fun matchup. That's Friday night as well. There are some big time Friday night, big time implications.
Yeah.
You love to see it.
Oh, man.
This is a big week, Friday and Saturday. Dude.
Yeah.
Yes.
I will have one phone with my eBay and Black Friday and all that stuff, and another phone and laptop watching games. All right.
Friday 3:30 Eastern is UTSA Tulane.
Oh, let's go.
And hopefully Friday in the Bahamas, it'll be Michigan against North Carolina.
Let's go.
Here's hoping. Let's
go. They don't have timeouts.
Hey, we got them going into the game this time.
Don't say
we just don't have Hunter Dickinson.
Wolverine banter that day.
Oh man. Oh yeah, you already know. But they don't have anything like a quack. Alex, it's easy with you, Alex. Right? I can't even say go green, go white because they don't care about that anymore. So Ohio State, I don't know. I can't say.
Yeah, just don't say James Madison in front of Cat.
Oh yes.
I'm gonna send you guys the JMU fight song that morning, and then get you off your game.
But the funny thing is, the funny thing is, we go to so our parents live in West Virginia, and we have to go down Route 66, and then Route 81. 81 goes right through campus of JMU, so we'll drive right by there. She used to love that place. This year has not been the same. She was like, "How did we lose to JMU?" I was like, "All right,
this way, Sean."
Yeah, take the long way, Sean.
Right, we're going all the way around. We're going to Mountain. I don't care. We're going through Charlottesville and all that crap, man. Oh man. Well, look. We had you guys on here, so we kind of dove into the conference races, and I'm glad you alluded to it earlier, Ben. And I think let's go ahead and do it. Let's talk about it. The updated college football playoff rankings. I'm going to go straight from 25 to 1, but we're just going to focus on the top 5. 25, Liberty at 11-0. Clemson at 7-4 is 24. Tulane 10-1 is 23. NC State 8-3, and they are at 22. Tennessee at 7-4 is at 21, and Oklahoma 8-3. Oklahoma State at 8-3 is 20. Kansas State 19, Notre Dame 18, Iowa 17, Oregon State 16, Arizona surprisingly, but I like that, at 15. LSU at 14 with 13 being OU. Ole Miss at 12, Penn State at 10, Louisville cracks the top 10 with Missouri ahead of them at 9, Alabama at 8, Texas at 7, Oregon at 6, FSU at 5, number 4 being Washington, number 3 Michigan, number 2 Ohio State, and number 1 Georgia. Alex, I'm going to come to you first. You see that top 4? We talked about it today. Are you good with this? You think that's the top 4 teams right now?
Yeah, I do. I feel like this is the right 4. And I mean, here's the thing. For the team, I mean, you've seen Washington fans complain for a while that they deserve to be in the top 4. And now Florida State going to 5. They're going to be 4 next week. Mm-hmm. One of Michigan and Ohio State is dropping out. Right. That spot will go to FSU this coming week. And then it's winning you're in my opinion, for the top 4 teams. I think if they all win, they're in. Now, that's where there's going to be a lot of chaos, is if Washington loses or if FSU loses or if Georgia loses, like if any of those 4 teams lose, then you've got the Oregon's winning there, and at that point, Texas, Alabama, the loser, Michigan, Ohio State, then you can start to kind of creep back into the conversation with those teams.
Yeah.
But I to answer the question, I do think this is the right 4 teams right now.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And Alec, I mean, what do you think? I know you said Oregon's at 6, but we see the top 4. But like you said, these can all change. What are your thoughts about the top 4 and those right outside of it?
I mean, I have no complaints on the top 4. As much as it pains me to see that one team at number 4, pains me.
The head-to-head matchup has to matter. That's all that it is.
I mean, rightfully so. They took advantage of our miscues, so I give them that. But with the top 4, I'm fine with. I'm fine with where it's at. Obviously, like Alex said, what happens this week in conference can make an impact on what changes. But like I said, I'm fine with it. Definitely fine with it.
Oh yeah. What do you think, Ben? You guys are at 5.
No, I think it's perfectly good. I'm fine with it. Again, you do have 5 undefeated teams right now. One of them is going to have to be number 5. So Washington beat Oregon State at Oregon State. They do deserve to be number 4. That's a big road win,
Yeah.
So, and they had big road. Well, USC doesn't look like a big road win now, but
well,
it was a big game. It was a big,
so Georgia's right there. Michigan's number 2. So, or is Ohio State number 2?
Buckeyes are number 2.
Okay,
and they should be.
Yeah, that's fair. Michigan number 3, that's fine. No complaints.
Yep.
Washington number 4. Florida State, like I said, they got to win out, and it's not going to be easy with Rodemaker being the starter. No offense, but he doesn't do what Jordan Travis does. So they're going to have to
use the backup for a reason.
Yeah, they got to change the dynamics of the offense a little bit, but we still have great weapons, with Coleman, Benson, and stuff. I mean, our offensive line is going to be key. That's the thing. Rodemaker, he's going to have to not hold on to the ball too long. There's one that makes me a little nervous. He does at times hold on to that ball too long. So, that offensive line's got to play big time. And if we can do that, I think we can beat Florida. Now, Louisville, I think we can beat them too. My only question is with the committee, will they? Because again, I said optics is a big thing. If you don't have Jordan Travis in this game, you're not going to. Do you want Florida State, whether it's fair or not, to be in this title? You want the 4 best teams. But do they feel like Rodemaker makes them better? I don't think he makes them better. But would he be a good enough quarterback when you're comparing him to, the McCarthys, and Carson Beck, stuff like that, guys like that, Michael Penix, possibly, or Bo Nix, it's going to be interesting to see how the team
it's a
counter that.
Yeah.
You look back a few years ago when you had, I know the one year Jalen Hurts was the starter, but then you had Tua come in and vice versa the next year. So you do have these stories of these unknown quarterbacks. Even the year, I believe it was the year Ohio State actually won the national championship. We injured their starter the last week of the regular season. And I believe, was it JT Barrett that we hurt, or did JT Barrett come in and win the whole thing for them? I can't remember, but they were on like their second or third string quarterback. So you do have instances of them, even with the backup quarterback, just being like, this is one of the best teams.
Yeah, it was
Cardale Jones. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. We hurt JT Barrett and Cardale Jones came in.
Don't remind me about that motherfucker.
At the same time,
flashbacks.
When can we really say was the last time that we had the 4 best teams in the playoff? There's typically 2 or 3 of the best teams, and then there's just another team kind of thrown in. Like,
he's going to get robbed this year. Like, I could just see it already. Him complaining, Hey, listen, guys, this is Nick Saban, okay?
Yeah.
We only lost to Texas, but come on, man. We
and Georgia.
The title game. And it's our birthright to be in the
our birthright.
Especially in the final year of the top 4. Come on, man. Quarterback. No, I'm just kidding.
And here's the thing. If Bama beats Georgia, I'm still holding to this. I don't think there's going to be an SEC team in the playoff. If it holds on.
Really?
If they lose to Bama?
No.
I don't think so. Because you're going to me, Georgia's the same thing as Michigan. You have to run the table to get in because that strength of schedule is weak.
Let me tell you something. There's a guy named Paul Feinbaum that's going to make sure an SEC team gets in there. He will be at that committee.
And if Paul Feinbaum has his way, Michigan's not playing for anything meaningful. So, but I mean, you look at it.
Yeah.
If you have Michigan or Ohio State running the table, they'll be in. I still wholeheartedly believe if Florida State runs the table, they will get in. The winner of Washington and Oregon will get in. And then if you have Alabama as your SEC champion and Texas as your Big 12 champion who beat Alabama in their house, the Big 12 champ is getting in and there's no SEC team.
It doesn't matter, okay? It doesn't matter. We are Alabama. It doesn't matter.
I'm sorry, the SEC just means more.
Yeah. That Longhorn and that goat. Get rid of it.
I do still think if Bama wins the SEC championship, I do not think there will be an SEC team.
They're not going to get in, but I could just see Saban. You know how he is. In the finals, they're going to complain and be like, "Come on, look at our record. All right, look what we did after that loss." Okay.
Well, and that goes into that argument because Georgia is clearly one of the 4 best teams.
Yeah,
but I don't think they'd get in.
Really?
Yeah.
They beat Missouri. They beat Ole Miss. They beat. They've beaten all these teams.
But all those sayings of conference championships matters, and it matters when you lose, and all that stuff. To have that loss to Bama, who has that loss to Texas, and that's the thing. Texas would have to win the Big 12. If Texas loses the Big 12, then I do think it's Bama over Georgia because of the one loss head-to-head. Bama would get in. Because they've shown with the rankings that head-to-head matters. That's why Texas has been 1 spot ahead of Bama the whole time. That's why Washington's been 1 spot, now 2 spots ahead of Oregon the entire time. That head-to-head does matter. So Georgia, like I've been saying with Michigan, has to win their conference to get in.
And I'm going to tell you this real quick. Texas, Sarkisian has been just skating by.
Yep.
I think he's I think he's due for 1 more loss. I don't know.
I think he comes in the playoff. I don't think he comes before that.
No. I think it's going to be in the conference game. I just got a feeling they're going to lose another game before the season's over with. I do.
And we all know about, the injury to Jonathan Brooks, and can Baxter come in and fill those shoes? Because he had over 100 yards in his last game. He was a formidable force in that run game. So if they can get that run production from their run game, we'll see. But I too just kind of waiting for that other shoe to drop. I still got my guy Oklahoma State, and if they make it into the Big 12 championship, I think that they could make something happen. Unfortunately, since they got that last loss, they're not in any real conversation for anything major, but they can still play spoiler. So I'm excited to see that. Look, we're going to keep you in here really quickly because we are going to go ahead and talk about our
With team success comes individual success. So without y'all.
Absolutely. We are going to go look at our Heisman list right now. And I think for the most part, we're pretty sure. I think it's pretty much a consensus who are the top tier players. I know Michael Penix Jr. Is pretty much been consensus number 1. Jalen Daniels is right behind him. Marvin Harrison Jr. Jordan Travis was very high on that list, definitely in the top 5. And obviously, unfortunately, with this, He's going to drop. But then also Bo Nix. Ben, I'm going to come to you first this time. With Jordan Travis out, who do you think's filling in for him, and what do you think? Who are your top 4 on the list?
Well, I got to put Penix at the top. Then you got to go, Marvin Harrison Jr. Perhaps for me. I'm putting Bo Nix in the top 4. And then I don't know, maybe this is out there, but JJ McCarthy might still have a shot at it. I would say maybe those would be my top 4 since my guy Jordan Travis is out now. So, but I got to go Penix number 1 right now. Just clearly, he's playing the best football. His team's still undefeated. And if they do play Oregon again, which is more than likely, I think the winner of that game is going to decide it.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot about Daniels. I forgot about Daniels. I'll put Daniels a little ahead of McCarthy. That's no offense, but,
I think McCarthy's played himself out of it truthfully, so.
But he's definitely in the top 5 for me, so.
Okay. I can dig. Now, Alec, I'm coming to you because Bo Nix has been mentioned, and if he can find a way to win out and win the Pac-12 championship, will he be hoisting the trophy?
Oh, without a doubt. That's why I don't care. Bias aside, he's my number 1.
Ooh.
You've seen the signs all over the world in August, the bodacious signs.
Yeah.
And in December, you'll see him hoist that Heisman that he so rightfully deserves.
Wow. I
have no rankings. It's all Bo Nix for me.
Bo Nix. I
love it.
A Nix wins the Heisman this year.
I like it.
His top 5 for the Heisman is BONIX.
Right.
Perfect.
Put that all together, and it spells Bonix.
Let's go.
Perfect.
Because the way I see it is, it's like if you can have the year he had, the career he had at Auburn, and then have that downfall, and then go to Oregon where Pac-12 they help mold quarterbacks into being their own what they're comfortable with, and the work he's done this season. I mean, if anybody points out the loss against Washington, that's dumb. Because even at that game, he still played lights out.
Yeah,
he still balled out, right?
I agree.
And he could easily erase that with the rematch win. And win the rematch.
Mm-hmm.
So, Alex, who is your number 1, and what's your top 4?
I might get a lot of flack for this one. My number 1 is Jaden Daniels.
Ooh.
I don't think, outside of the Florida State game, I don't think you can pinpoint a single game that he was a big part of why they lost. A lot of the other 2 losses were in spite of Daniels' elite performance. And there's a lot of recency bias that goes into it. The last 2 games, if I'm not mistaken, he's been a part of 14 touchdowns in the last 2 games. So I think he's my front runner currently. My top 5, and the 5 that I think, if it's 5, I'll say the 4 that I think will be in New York. No, 5. They've done 5 the last few years. I think it'll be Daniels. I think it'll be Bo Nix. And I think it'll be Michael Penix Jr. I think those 3 are head and shoulders above the rest. And then I think we're going to get Carson Beck there. And then 1 player is going to come from the Michigan-Ohio State game. It's either going to be Marvin Harrison Jr. or Blake Corum. Whichever one of those 2 plays better and kind of steals the show, because I think it's going to come down to which one of those 2 outperforms the other for who's really going to win this game. The winner of that game will have that star offensive player in New York as the 5th person.
Ooh, I love that. I got to go with the consensus. My number 1 is Michael Penix Jr. best quarterback, best team. They're winning because of him. And if he's able to win out through the Pac-12 championship, I think he will get it. Definitely throwing love to Bo Nix because he's definitely played his way into it over these last couple years and definitely with this year. But my number 2, though, is Marvin Harrison Jr. Unfortunately, seeing as my fiance went to Michigan State, is from Michigan, I have to watch the Michigan State games. And within by 14:58 in the second quarter, it was 21-0 with Marvin Harrison had 3 receiving touchdowns. I've seen all I need to see with that.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of that is going to play out these last couple weeks with how he plays against Michigan, how he plays and potentially in the Big Ten championship, and if that pushes him over, because we know how hard it is for wide receiver to get the nod. Jalen Daniels, you can't take him off that list. I mean, the performance that he's been having has been elite, but 2 weeks ago when he had 300 in the air, 200 on the ground,
yeah,
I mean, come on now, like you can't take him out of that consideration. And then after that, I'm not going to be biased. My guy's not in here. Travis, it upsets me that Jordan Travis got hurt because he was my next guy. He was the guy that I was going to.
He would have been there for sure.
And that's very frustrating to me because I really wish he was going to be in there for that. But yeah, Penix Jr., Marvin Harris Jr., Bo Nix, Jane Daniels. That's who I think are my 4 that are going to be in New York.
Well, and you look at Marvin Harrison Jr. If they beat Michigan and they win the Big Ten title game, the 2 corners that are going to be shadowing him are Will Johnson and Cooper DeJean, who over the next 2 years are going to be 2 of the top corners taken in each draft.
Yeah.
So if he lights up the box score against those 2 corners, he might take it because he's having a Devonta Smith like season when Devonta Smith won the Heisman. So, if he has 2 more big games here, he might push the quarterbacks out of the way.
Come on. We'll see. But hey, this Heisman season, I'm loving it because there are so many different players.
Yeah.
We know the amount of quarterbacks, but I like to see a wide receiver sneak in there. I want to see some of these other guys. If Travis was able to continue to go and they maybe had a couple more dominant games, I fully would have expected Keon Coleman to be in this conversation. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, the numbers don't add up as much, but he is, you've seen Ben, he's an absolute playmaker and difference maker.
And I think he's going to have a good NFL career. I think he may not be a great one of those top running backs, but he can be one of those running backs where he could contribute, in the NFL. I could see him like a Kyron Williams kind of running back, come out of nowhere. Maybe he'll be like a 3rd or 4th round pick, but he'll be, if he goes to the right team, he could be a pretty good weapon for that team. So
Absolutely, man. And that's what matters. Really quickly, we are going to, Ben and Alec, I'm going to take you out really quick. We're going to do our game balls, and then I want to come in and bring you guys in for going for 2 since Thanksgiving is 2 days away. So I'm going to take you guys out. We're going to do our game balls. We'll bring you guys right back in. Yeah, buddy. Hey, let's go ahead and quickly get into our Week 13 game balls. This is where we give a game ball to the player that we thought most impacted the game or was that big to that team. Alex, I'm gonna bring it to you first. Who's your first game ball?
So I have an offensive and a defensive one this week. I will start on the offensive side of the ball. Number 1, Georgia. That quarterback leading the offense, Carson Beck, gets my offensive game ball. 24 of 30, 6 incompletions.
Wow.
298 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks in these big time games on the road against Tennessee. One of those games where, as critical as I've been of Tennessee, that's still a very good team. You got to have it. He had it. He played very well. He gets my offensive game ball.
Yes. I love that because, as we both discussed, the only way to stop this offense is to keep them off the field. You know what I mean? Because they are elite. I'm also going to go with quarterback. I stuck with 2 quarterbacks this week, but they're different quarterbacks. I got to shout out the guy I've been talking about for the last couple years out of New Mexico State. Has them in the conference championship. Diego Pavia, 19 of 28, 201 yards, 3 TDs, and also 35 yards on the ground. He has kept these guys somewhat relevant, but in conference, he has these guys swinging for the fences. Now, they're going up against Liberty, and we know that Liberty's got a stout defense. They've got a great team, great momentum this year. But if there's a guy that could just somehow, be that gunslinger and bring this team to victory, I am fully expecting Diego Pavia to be that dude. So I'm really looking forward to this Conference USA Conference Championship game to see what he can do in this game.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Oh yeah. Yo, who is your number 2?
As to my defensive game ball, I went with the Michigan guy. I went with Mike Sainer still. Was a lockdown corner in coverage. Ended up with 2 picks of Taulia. It seemed like every time Maryland kind of started to get rolling offensively, he brought them right back down. Yeah. Kind of was that, okay, you're kind of trying to come back, put the foot on the throat, shut it down. Sainer still was the defensive leader in this game. And a big reason why we escaped with a win against Maryland, because we escaped. That was There's no 2 ways around it. We were lucky to come out of that game.
It was rough. You made one reporter, Mr. Nathan Snell, turn everything off for the weekend. He was like, "I'm done. No longer talking about Maryland." Oh my goodness! But it was a great game, but yeah, definitely had you on the edge of your seat for sure. My number 2 game ball is a team we've talked about a lot, but we've stuck with their running back, and I got to give good love to their quarterback, Missouri's quarterback Brady Cook. 20 of 34, 331 yards and a touchdown, another 11 yards on the ground, and another in a rushing touchdown. Look, we know about Missouri's D. We know about how Drinkwitz got these guys turned up and focused. Cody Schrader is obviously a leader. He's been just balling all year long. But Brady Cook has been one of the underrated stars on this team. We know about Luther Burden, but Brady Cook has been distributing the ball to all their different receivers. And we've seen he's gone toe-to-toe with likes of the LSUs, the Georgias, you know what I mean, the Tennessees, and he's looked great. He's absolutely looked great. So then you have this game where he goes up against the Florida, and it was right down to the wire. Brady Cook was, in my opinion, one of the differences in this ball game. So definitely shout him out, man. He's and he'll be back next year if I'm not mistaken. So I'm excited about I'm excited about what we're going to see from Missouri going forward. So, those are our Week 13 game balls. Definitely stay tuned for what we got next year. And we will be doing season game balls and also season superlatives, talking about the All-Americans, looking at different conferences, looking at different players, who got our award, who was the best newcomers, who were the guys that shocked us, and who had some forgettable seasons that did not do what we expected them to do. So definitely tune into that. But we are at the end of the game, ladies and gentlemen. It is tight. It is tough. You're going to see a lot of this over the weekend where coaches will be making their careers off calls, not to kick the extra point, but to go for 2. Yeah, buddy. And ladies and gentlemen, got to bring our guys back in here to go for 2. We'll give you a little snippet, little something extra on our way out the door, just to say our goodbyes, but also let you know this is what it is who we are. So going for 2 late in the game. Ben, I'm going to come to you first. What is your going for 2 today?
Going for 2 today. So we pick 2 topics. I'm new at this, so we go for 2.
Oh, no. We're going for 2.
It's just kind of your final message.
My final message is that Florida State, it's right there.
Mm-hmm.
Jordan Travis is out. You have to move forward. Tate Rodemaker, this is your team. Just the keys to the Bentley. Don't screw it up.
Yeah.
Get us to the college football playoff, and we'll go from there. I just want to be in that top 4 come December 3rd, I believe. That's when the
December 3rd, yeah. Selection
3rd.
Sunday.
Our Bentley should be parked in those 4 parking spots.
In either Pasadena or New Orleans.
Doesn't matter. Pasadena, New Orleans, Rose Bowl, Sugar Bowl, doesn't matter. Let's just get to one of those.
You get in. Yep.
No.
In, win, and you're in. That's my message.
I can dig it. Alec, what is your going for 2 tonight?
Oh. I'm trying to think without sounding stupid.
Great. You're good.
Oregon, please do not get my hopes up. When you face Oregon State, I don't care what it is, stomp on their necks. And then you move, and then you play Washington, stomp on their necks. Even when they get up, kick them down. You are better than them. You know you're better than them. They took advantage of you the first time. You come for revenge the second time. Michael Penix, I want to see them face the camera on him because at that moment, he lost the Heisman.
Oof.
Damn.
All right. Come on with it. Oh, man. Alex, what you got, man?
So mine's going to be a little more lighthearted than that. Just want to take a second from north of the border to say happy Thanksgiving. Hope everyone gets to enjoy the family time, the food, the football. I know I booked the day off on Thursday. Watch some football, just kind of hang out. Yeah.
It's nice seeing a Canadian celebrate an American holiday.
Yep. Absolutely. With my Lions playing, you know what's happening. And then just to extend it into the weekend, just football fans in general enjoy. Massive weekend all across the board. College, NFL, there's big time games on Sunday as well. So just enjoy, spend the time with family, and happy Thanksgiving.
Absolutely.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. So I got 2, but they're brief. Number 1, as I echo Alex's sentiments, definitely enjoy your family. There is so much good football on, and that is all I love to do for this time of the year, even though it also reminds us that we are right around the corner from this whole thing being over, and we're back into that hibernation of the off season.
Yeah,
like
college basketball.
It'll be fun.
Thankfully,
but before we know it'll be March Madness. So,
so look. With that being said, which is a perfect segue, I got 2 teams playing this weekend. Okay, one being North Carolina, one being Washington. Please, I cannot afford another loss. My God, I understand this Washington game is going to be rough because I'm not confident at all.
The only thing you gotta be worried about is not us, but somebody in your messenger.
I already know. They're coming at me.
There's gonna be a few of them.
Oh yeah. I've already been told to keep my phone very charged. All I'm saying is I don't want to have to return to I don't know if you guys saw my show last Sunday. My fiance decided that her Lions are 8-2 for the first time since '62. But for me, well, just go ahead to it. FedEx on blast.
Here.
Thank you, Kat.
And I brought you this. Maybe you guys need to start wearing paper bags.
Wow, because we just trashed today.
Love you.
Just
now you don't have to worry about people recognizing you.
Wow. I'm sorry, Sean. That describes our loss today. That describes our loss.
Tell me she did not just do that.
Look at that. Do you want me to take it out for you?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, as you've seen, this is where the show has gone.
Oh, that's wild.
Wow.
I didn't see that part of the show.
Oh, I did. I did.
You send the bat.
Oh,
We'll
God.
send you the DMU fight song.
You know what?
Yes.
Real quick. At least this week after the Commanders Cowboys game, regardless who wins or lose, you'll have warm showers.
Yeah. Oh, God. Oh my. Come on, man. So we are not. So one thing we know is that we're not fully done with Dan Snyder. The remnants of him and his crap are still all over us.
Yeah,
But,
you got any camera footage in that boiler room at all, or
No, right? Well, look,
Dan Snyder to keys, or
you know, he's like, oh, they think they're done, right? Okay, cut off the water. Here we go.
You won't pay the bill this month.
But look, man, back to real quick. So when Kat and I got together, the Detroit Lions. Sorry, Alex, but you lived through it. The Detroit Lions were awful.
Yeah, unless you guys got together last year, yeah.
Right. So, and like, mind you, we've been together for almost 10 years. So when we first got together, watching a game with her, it was hard because she would never really watch it because she'd be like, I'm just going to wait for them to mess up. We'd go to games and we'd be right there. I'm like, I'm sitting here, a Washington fan saying, Kat, you guys are going to win. You're going to beat us. She's like, no, we'll find a way. We'll find a way. And lo and behold, they find a way. So you know what she wants to do this year? Oh, we have to get home. I don't want to miss any Lions game. I want to miss football Sunday, Kat. Can we please? No, I want to watch it. Let's go watch the Lions. And so then I find myself having to be rude and be like, well, Michigan State sucks. So let's just, you don't have anything else. She's like, we're 8-2 with the Lions.
That's where you go, okay, we can watch the Lions on Sunday. We got to watch the Spartans on Saturday.
Right.
And you know why? Now the Lions win those games like they did this past week. And you want to know why? Dan Campbell. He's turned that team around. You could just see it, man.
Go ahead, Ben. Do the voice impersonation.
About to say, yeah.
Okay. All right, guys. I told you it was going to take a couple years. I told Alex Goosemore down there, my buddy, my little guy. We were going to do it, man. Now we're going to the Super. We're going to Vegas. Get ready. We're going to go see that Ben Cornette guy.
Pump the brakes. Right. Let's win a damn playoff game first.
Lions and whoever's out of the AFC, we don't care. Bring it on. I'm ready to bite ankles. Let's do it, guys. Come on, Alex. Let's bite some ankles.
If you want to see just Dan Campbell, go find the clip of him in the locker room after the game on Sunday. And he's just like, it literally starts off with him like essentially howling, like just he was fired up. And it shows Dan Campbell in a nutshell. And I could not be happier with a head coach.
They should have made the Lions the in-season Hard Knocks.
You guys needed this. Your franchise needed something like this. You know, somebody and to give this guy a chance too. Don't just write him off.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that seems to be the trend with the Lions before Campbell came. They just wrote him off. Now, granted, Patricia was horrible. Let's not deny it. But they found
Jim Caldwell got like 5 years.
But still, you found the right guy. You found somebody that can just turn this thing around. And okay, realistically, I don't know if they'll make a Super Bowl this year, but man, you got to say right now, other than the Eagles and Niners, they got to be number 3, right?
Yep.
Got to be.
Now I have a certain co-host that would try to beg to differ on that, but I let her know the Lions are far better than the Cowboys, Janae.
Week 17, Janae. Week 17.
Cannot wait.
But here's the thing.
I got some Lions gear. Trust me.
I don't think they'll make the Super Bowl, but if we end up stealing that 1 seed, look out.
Come on now. Come on. Let y'all get some home field advantage. Watch out.
Yeah. Well, you'll get a home game no matter what in the first playoff game. So.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, look, ladies and gentlemen, hey, we appreciate y'all being here with us on this Tuesday. And since it was the last Tuesday show before Thanksgiving, definitely wanted to bring on our guys and definitely say thank you so much, Ben Cornette, Alex Schaumburg, Appreciate you guys hopping on here.
Thank you
Definitely
for having me,
thankful
man.
for you
Appreciate
guys.
it.
Oh yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
problem.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Always fun. Always fun.
Yes.
Even when we get a reserved Alec when he's not fuming and frustrated.
Just
And
a
look,
rant.
I
Need a
don't
rant.
wish any ill on your team, but I
I'm just
do
on
love
edge,
when
man.
you get hyped.
I'm just on edge. These last two games is crucial. These last two
Yo,
games
we need to
are
get some
crucial.
live look-ins at Alec watching the game and just pacing back and forth.
No, he's too busy hanging out with Devin White.
I see that. I see, yeah, man.
I mean,
I would pay though to just have like a live feed of Alec watching a Ducks game.
Yeah.
oh, you don't want to
you
see
see an example of that? Like,
you don't want to see
That was me at the end of the Lions game this week. I was pacing. I was like, we're not about to freaking do this, are we?
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to see
wait.
happened last Saturday.
Yeah. And look, none of y'all could go against me when there's a guy that lives with his mom and dad and they do his laundry and yet he throws for 248 yards and 3 TDs on us. So, you know, I don't even know how to. On that note, I can't be on here anymore. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got to get out of here. For my guy and host of Restoring the Roar, Alex Loosemore. My guy down here, you see him, Mr. Quack Quack. Wait, I'm trying to point to Alec. Alec, you know where you are, Mr. Quack Quack. And Ben Cornett, host of 2-3 Ben Zone. Guys, appreciate you being on here. We're going to go ahead and get off. You guys take care. Have a happy Thanksgiving. And go Washington? I don't know. Maybe.
Go Blue.
Peace.
you too.
College football update with your host, Sean Spencer. Hey, Alex.